welcome to another Harry's Hobbies video. And in this one I'm going to be redoing the docks. I didn't like the way the other ones were looking, so I decided to redo them and change it up just a little bit. So that's what this video will be about. In front of me you can see a few things. I've got the other part of the dock right here, and I really didn't like the way that was turning out. So what I decided to do is, I'm going to go a little old school here, and I'm going to use toothpicks. And what I've done, I've snipped the tips off of them, and I'll place them down in a staggered type of formation. But they're still going to be about the same width as the other dock. But I think that this is going to end up looking a little bit better. So what I do is I place the toothpicks staggered like this. And that's about the same size as the other dock, the same width anyway. And then I take some painter's tape and we'll hold these down. And we'll place a small piece of tape right over the edge right there. And then I'll just go ahead and line up the rest of these. So now what I'll do is, I'll fall back to the readily accessible Elmer's glue. And this is quite a simple process here. I take some of that glue and just spread it liberally along the entire length of the toothpicks, and then using that reliable tool, your finger, I just take that and smear the glue, forcing it into the areas in between the toothpicks. And then the easy part about this is I just give this ample time, and make sure that you have plenty of glue. If you go a little bit over, it's easy enough to scrape off the little bit that'll be on your work base. This is an old granite countertop that I use. It came from I don't know, some kind of little bar thingy that ended up getting wet. And so I adopted the granite piece and used that for a little work area. It's easy for me to scrape any kind of paint, spills, glue, whatever off. So I'll give this ample time to dry, and I'll be back very shortly with the continuation of this video.
Three hours later.
So I've given the Elmer's glue plenty of time to dry, and by plenty of time I mean it's been about 3-4 hours since I put it on. And the next step, it's a pretty simple step actually. I've got a paintbrush here for brushing it off, and what I'll do is I'll simply start with sanding it. I use a heavy grit sandpaper to break this down. And since it's still glued to the table, I don't have to worry about holding on to it. And the good thing about this is I only have to do one side because this is going to be the up side. But I don't want it to have that rounded look that it currently comes with, as the toothpicks are round. So we'll start with the sanding and we'll take things from there. So I've completed the sanding, and now it's time to pop this off of the glue that is situated and holding it in place on the table here. I just go underneath with an X-Acto knife and just lightly take it and pull it off. And you can see the other side really looks kind of icky, but the side that'll be showing looks more like wood planks than toothpicks that are just glued together, which is the look I'm going for. And then to complete this, some of that glue is still a little bit on the damp side, even though it's sat for quite a while. You can see this by what I'm doing right now. But that's a good thing about Elmer's glue. It doesn't take all that long to dry. And then a good thing, have a paper towel just to wipe it down, and that'll get the glue to dry a little bit quicker because you're thinning it out and absorbing the excess, which is exactly what that is. And we don't need it to hold that well on the other side. The next thing is, you'll notice that there's small pieces of the Elmer's glue that are still attached to the side. So I just take the X-Acto knife and trim those off. And this is no worse than trimming something off the parts tree of any other model. And it comes along and ends up looking like that. And then the next step we come to is simply the painting and weathering. And I'm going to start this with, because this is so light, I'm going to start this with the brown. And I'm just going to take and run a nice little bead. Well, maybe not, since it's coming out in glues. Well, so I'm going to put a little bit of paint on here. And again, I'm not concerned with the work spot area because that's easily cleaned up. And I want to get a nice good coat of the brown and get this spread out pretty quickly, because I'm going to show you a little trick that I use when I do stuff like this. And it's not really a trick. I think a lot of people do it actually. You can see I've got a lot of excess paint kind of hanging around. I want to get along the edges real good. Make sure I got that. Because this is going to be the part that you'll see. You won't see the underside. And then I fall back to the paper towel that I just used and just run it across. And this helps to lighten it up a little bit for the rest of the weathering process after that's dry. And then we'll have a pretty good looking dock. And I'll complete things from there. So I hope you enjoyed this little update to the existing dock. And I'll do a little bit more on this, and you'll see the end result as the model comes together. Hope you enjoyed this video. And again, thanks for watching.